Hello and welcome to the Farnham Arms Hotel in Cavan. You're with CavanTV.com, and it's an absolute pleasure on this occasion to have a candidate who is representing this area in the presidential election that's coming up at the end of the month. Will there be a Cavan president in Áras an Uachtaráin? Time will tell. Sean Gallagher, you're very welcome to Cavan.
Great to be here. Could we make it a first for Cavan?
Of course. Not alone will it be a first for Cavan, but from memory, it's probably the first time that anybody from Cavan or with a real Cavan connection has contested this position.
I think that's true, and it would be an absolute great honour for me to be elected as president coming from Cavan. And I've always, everywhere I've been proud of my Cavan roots and all that I have learned and that has shaped me from Cavan.
What was the one thing that made you decide this is what I want to do?
You know, sometimes it's not that light bulb moment where it goes off and you say, I want to be president. It's an accumulation of experiences over time. And in particular, the last 3 years, I've travelled every part of this country to community groups, the voluntary sector, disability sector. I've been working with many people who are unemployed, and I've been working with the small business sector, many of whom are struggling to survive. And I've been seeing heroes everywhere, and yet all we hear in the media is the negativity of the doom and gloom. And I was speaking at a Ferogia conference of adult leaders recently, 300 leaders who spend their time in communities helping young people, and it brought me back to growing up in Ballyhaise and setting up a Ferogia Youth Club. And I was saying to them about the message of getting involved and getting out there and being leaders in their community. And many of them said to me afterwards, why don't you go for the president and bring your message of youth and community work and enterprise to help shape the next part of the future of Ireland, Ireland's next chapter. And I reflected on it and I decided I would have a look, and here I am.
These are real issues, and these are real issues that are affecting people now. So it's not coincidental that you are entering the race, coming from an entrepreneurial background, that people should realistically think this is where you're coming from without political issues.
Absolutely, and it's very much like what Mary McAleese did. She, while having a background in politics, she came from the north and she understood the issues. And when addressing the biggest issue at the time, which was peace, she was able to bring her background to deal with the relevant issue. And that's what I want to do now, because the biggest issue now is unemployment and immigration and the need to rebuild communities, and that's my background, and I want to put that to good use now to help the country.
Now you come in at a time where the country is in a recession. Figures will tell us that it's turning around, but to bring what we have to offer to foreign regions, that's something that you have on your mind as well, sure?
It is, because, and some other people in political life would tell you that that's the job for the Minister for Enterprise. But Mary McAleese built peace at a time when she wasn't the Minister for Foreign Affairs. So there is a real need to promote Ireland abroad, because that attracts tourists. Tourists mean hotels and coffee shops and restaurants, and craft industries get supported. When to create new business in new markets, we need to go with trade missions out to the new countries where we can sell our food and our drink and our products and our IT, and we need to open up those new markets. That supports jobs at home, and we need to create more investment. And all we need to do is look around here in Cavan and see the numbers of shops and outlets and factories that have closed, and they need to be replaced by a combination of investment from outside, but also I want to help the government to develop and nurture an entrepreneurial spirit that supports new people getting up and starting businesses, because it's jobs in places like Cavan that keeps people in Cavan and becomes the glue that holds entire communities together.
A future, you see it in Ireland?
Absolutely, and yesterday I spoke to 500 students in DIT in Dublin. The day before I spoke to 2,000 students in Cork. I spend so much of my time in schools and colleges because we need to build and breed a new sense of leadership in the country. We have great bright people, we have a strong entrepreneurial spirit that is nowhere stronger in Ireland than here in Cavan. And we are a great people, and what we need to do now is believe in ourselves, change the story, come out fighting, dig deep, and it's in that adversity that we will find our true spirit. And I know it because I grew up with it here in Cavan.
This is on the World Wide Web. There will be people from Cavan watching this, people from Ireland watching this. Your message to them, get on to your friends, your relatives who live in Ireland, support Sean Gallagher.
This is the last 15 minutes of the match. I'm a couple of pints down. I need to draw on every ball, and the team needs to move forward towards the goals, and every one of us needs to draw and give it the last minute and leave nothing on the pitch, so that win, lose or draw, I'll put in the best campaign I can on my own behalf, on behalf of Cavan and on behalf of the good decent people of the country.
But you have to be hugely encouraged by the polls.
I am, but the only poll I'm worried about is the people on the ground who are supporting me, and I am blessed to have some of the most amazing volunteers from every part of the country, and none more so than the team of volunteers of family and friends, and those who have come on to support the message. That's what heartens me, and that's what will get me across the line. And I will be representing every one of those people every day for the next 7 years.
What does Cavan and this community mean to you, finally?
It means everything, because here is where I was shaped, here is where I learned, here is where I went to school in Ballyhaise, in St Patson College in Cavan, the Agricultural College in Ballyhaise, my first job in Highlands Hardware in Ballyhaise, working with Shalvey Poultry in Modjabon, spending 6 months above in Carricknabrick in Mullahorn, working for John Brady on a dairy farm, and then moving on to be involved in other aspects of the community, playing minor football with Ballyhaise, things I look back and cherish. My first ever judo club here in Cavan town, and all the community and voluntary organisations, Feroe and Mocker, that I've been involved in. This is where I was shaped and honed, and this is where I draw my values, and my family and everybody else in the community that has helped me in any way. I step forward, drawing every one of those with me.
Sean, we wish you well.
A pleasure, delighted.
That's the voice of Sean Gallagher. Going for president, give him your number one, and make him the next first citizen of the Phoenix Park.